hit record on this.
Who's hosting?
Sure, I'll do it. I haven't
Yeah,
been here.
like I never do. I don't like doing it.
Fine.
I like this this avant-garde lighting you got going on, Shamob.
It's just
I love that.
Keep it on the tree while I do the intro.
the house to myself.
Shamob actually
Oh,
turned
no.
into a tree, such as his disdain for being alive at the moment. Right, we ready to rock and or roll?
Yeah, that's it.
Right. I'm back. That's right. Regardless of anything that's happened in the football world over the past week, the main thing is that I'm back and I'm going to carry all the boys with me. I'm, of course, Sean Meehan. We got Daniel Osborne. We got Shamobi Bobby O'Brien. And folks, although I started that in a very energetic and happy way.
Here we go.
Like, last weekend, the Den, or the new Den, as people still call it, despite the fact that it's... no one's had to come in. I have to start that again.
Well, you know where to make the cuts.
You said, despite the fact that people call it the new Den, you can start from there.
I'll actually just start from the beginning because I realized that I came in hot to trot. Came in a bit hot to trot.
Right.
Right. Hello and welcome back to The Journeymen. I am Sean Meehan. I am back again. I'll be gone next week probably, and then I'll be back again. I do like flittering in and out, but I'm always in the background. We got, as always, Daniel Osborne and Shane O'Brien. Folks, how are we? We'll start, as I think is probably the most important topic over the past week in football, was that two incidents in particular reared their heads. One was in the Championship over the course of the weekend, and then one was in the Champions League. So we'll go to the Den, or the new Den, as it's still being called, despite the fact that it got rebuilt 30 years ago. It just proves how much of a kip the old Den must have been. Fans were let back into certain football stadiums around England, and what happened was footballers from Millwall and Derby County took the knee, as has been going on continuously since football came back, Project Restart and all that, and a fairly decent majority booed.
It wasn't like, oh, that was just one or two people. Not only was it quite a lot of the crowd, but this is a very specific crowd that are allowed back to these games right now, that are supposed to be representative of like the club. These are supposed to be the best of the best.
I think.
Yeah, but is it in any way surprising though that a section of Millwall fans would boo the knee?
No, it's not, and it's a shame considering like all of the work that Millwall have done as a club for years, like for decades, to try take those ties to say the National Front of the 80s. Like it's a lot like there's a lot of clubs in London that have that. You know, they have those attachments, and Chelsea are still trying to get away from it. But nothing like that has happened at Chelsea. Not at least since this Sterling incident of a couple of years ago, and that was very that was pretty much not unique to Chelsea because it has happened in the past, but it was a long time since that had occurred within the bounds of the stadium. Millwall still have that hanging over them. They've had done for generations, and this incident was just another showcase of that rearing its head.
None of this is exclusive to one football fan base, but there's no other fan base in England, at least, that I can imagine doing this like collectively like that.
Yeah.
No.
And I think it showcases that when the players have to put out a statement the day before, like the players put out a statement the day before to say that they were doing this. Yeah. Because they knew that when the fans came back in that they would have something to say, which surely like you're fighting a losing battle then already. You shouldn't be having to defend what you shouldn't be having to defend something like that, you know?
And like you shouldn't be like kowtowing to it either, because they even said like, okay, well maybe we'll do something else for our next game then, maybe we'll change it up a bit.
Exactly. We'll stand arm in arm. or whatever.
You know, and listen, I understand the well, like I don't understand it because the rationale is completely like it's baffling. Like Black Lives Matter and what footballers do, like when they're taking the knee, is fairly straightforward. Like it
Pretty
is
clear,
fairly
pretty clear mission
straightforward.
statement.
Exactly.
But I
You
mean,
think,
oh, go ahead.
but these people think it stands for something different. But no, well, actually, no. There's some people that think it stands for something different, but then there's some people that are just jumping obstacles and jumping through hoops in order to try make it seem as though it's something different. When in actuality,
that's
it
more
is,
of it, I think.
Yeah, where it's literally just a showcase of anti-racism.
You know,
like it's simple as.
They say they're. Oh, sorry, go on, Shamob. You tried earlier.
Just one, like, if you looked at Millwall's statement on Sunday where they condemned it, and they just said club statement on Twitter. But if you look through the replies to that, it gives you every indication of why the Millwall fans booed. Like this anti-Marxist shite. Like
I saw that
yeah.
on Saturday as well. Like I was working and like put it up on Facebook, and like obviously like these aren't Millwall fans. These are predominantly Irish people that are looking like, yeah, fair play to them. It's like, are you for real? Like what? Like there's a distinct amount of people that just are.
Do they also, do monkey chants and throw bananas at cultural Marxists? Like,
this is exactly it. Like, and I did see something which kind of tickled me when QPR scored during the week. Obviously, the next game for Millwall was on Tuesday. They took the knee, and then do you remember that meme? One of my favorite football memes of all time. The Brendan Rodgers, Bill Shankly.
How am I doing, son?
How am I doing?
You're doing great, son.
You're doing great, son. How am I doing, boss? And it was the two lads taking the knee, putting the fist up. But how am I doing, boss? It's just Karl Marx going, great job.
That's really good.
I was like, oh, that is brilliant.
Every iteration of that meme is good, though.
Yeah, sure. I even put it in for. I put it in for my gig. I love it. That'll never die. It's that one. That'll never die. And my favorite one, which I showed a load of the lads the other week, and they'd never seen it before, was the Arteta money. Do you remember that video? The Everton fans talking to Bill Kenroy.
I don't think so.
Oh my god, it's unbelievable! Like
right,
it was when Bill Kenroy was trying to sell like Everton for years, and they weren't spending any money, and it was after Arteta left, and they cornered him in the car park at Goodness. It's like, where's the Arteta money, Bill? What are you driving this club apart?
We'll leave the link to that in the description. Yeah.
Oh, it's big time. It's unbelievable.
Right, small little moment of respite aside there. Back to the serious stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking, in a way, Millwall fans booing that was nearly the best thing that could have happened for advancing the knee and the Black Lives Matter cause. Because you look at how powerful that image of the two QPR players celebrating was compared to. And I do think there's an argument that taking the knee has become a bit of a token gesture, like wearing the poppy is to some players, where they don't even think about it. They just get down the knee and then they get back up. I think.
It's a term that I hate to see used because it gets used so kind of ineffectively, which is the idea of signaling virtue, where they're just kind of doing they're going like, we'll do this thing and then we'll continue to do all this discriminatory stuff that contradicts what the statement we've made. Like obviously they need to be on way more, but when you say it's like a good thing, obviously I know what you mean, but I guess that players take the knee every game, and fans always say, "Oh, but nobody's racist. Nobody's against this. No, this is pointless because nobody's liked." But this proves people are still like that.
Like I think Ken Early Ken Early wrote that in the Times. I think he said that it's unfortunate that it takes something like this to kind of go, here, this is still actually completely valid and absolutely necessary, and we can't stop. We have to keep going. It doesn't become like. When things like this happen, it proves that it's not an empty gesture, that there is, like, because you got to that stage where Martin Tyler was like rehearsing it, so every time it had happened, and he'd be like, and of course the players will take a knee. Like I think it's like how he did. It's like it's like pantomime. He just created pantomime when he goes, "It's live," that kind of bullshit. And
I do think that like I'm not saying all players, obviously, but and maybe none of them, but I just feel like after 10 or 15 times doing it in front of no fans, it gets to the stage where it's just another pre-match ritual for a lot of players that doesn't require a lot of thought.
It is
But
different now with the crowds coming back.
yeah, and I feel after what's happened last week, it does have a lot more thought about it.
Oh
now.
yeah,
Like,
now it's absolutely like I think
like
we're going
before you're taking it, you realize what you're doing.
Yeah, and like what was nice to see is that once we saw what happened with Millwall, every time it happened in every other game after that, huge cheers from the crowd.
Yeah, which is what the best reaction you could have hoped for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but this is the thing as well. Like, I don't know how many black players there are at Millwall at the moment, but surely they must be like, what?
You can't feel comfortable.
And I know that they have a history, but like, listen, if I in any walk of life, you're just gonna, if you get an opportunity, an employment opportunity, you take it, and you might not think about it, you know. Like, I don't know how many players would be privy to what Millwall did in the 80s, the same way whoever signed up for like Kai Havertz doesn't know about Chelsea in the 80s, you know, that kind of way. Like, but they must, after that happened, they must have been like, what kind of club am I at? And I presume it would be like that for like all of the players, never mind just the black players. But
you do worry, was that like a penny drop moment for one of the players out on the pitch? Like,
yeah, like,
yeah, do I need to get out of this club?
Yeah, but I did find it sort of refreshing that it was QPR that they were playing the day at the next game, because Les Ferdinand is the director of football at QPR, and he said during the summer that like there's no point in taking the knee anymore. It doesn't mean anything anymore. And I think it showcased that, listen, Les Ferdinand knows a lot more about that than I do, but so I can kind of understand his point, but at least it crystallized that no, there is a point behind this, that like there's still a fight on, which there shouldn't be, but we still have to, and we have, the fact that we have to do this is pretty terrible.
And, and just to like really clarify, when obviously when he says it, and even when we say like taking the knee doesn't do anything, that's not to say stop taking the knee, that's to say do more. Like push it further in that direction. You got to do way more for this, not just it doesn't do anything, so don't bother.
Like the double celebration that the two players taking the knee is far more powerful than 22 players taking the knee for 3 seconds before the game. Even though it's the same thing and it's 20 less players doing it, it just looks, I think it's way because more powerful.
As soon as they do it every game, it starts to think, oh well, it's compulsory and it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
it's like shaking hands before a game. Nobody says, oh, it's because they respect each other. It's just you're told to do it.
Exactly, yeah. But that wasn't the only issue.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay.
In the PSG Istanbul Başakşehir match, the Romanian fourth official had allegedly used a racially offensive term.
Offensive term.
Not inoffensive, it was pretty offensive.
Different.
Against Pierre Weibo, who's a coach for Istanbul Başakşehir, which led to protests from both players on both teams, and it led to the match being suspended until the next day. Like, again, the reaction to what occurred from, like, I'm thinking particularly Demba Ba, proves that these people are in a distinct minority. We can't let them win. Now, I don't know what was said from the fourth official. Obviously, there's going to be an investigation, but what he was alleged to have said was offensive. And which led to Weibo, which led to Ba, which led to basically both sets of players just going, that's not on, and we're not playing. Provided this lad's still here, we're not playing.
From what's been gathered, what I understand is he didn't say a racial slur, but he referred to Weibo as, the black one.
Yeah.
Which is like, and that was Ba's issue. People are saying, oh, well, Ba thought he said a racial slur, and he didn't. No, Ba specifically said,
why don't you say,
why are you identifying by black? Identify by his name.
Exactly. It's like if you don't know his name, go, it's this lad
over here. Walk
over
to him, he's right there, point at him. Many other descriptors.
Ba goes, you don't go, you're not saying there's the white guy, go the white guy there.
what if there was no black guy on the bench? What if everyone on the bench was white? How would he identify one of them?
Exactly. You'd be like the fella in the middle there.
So do that anyway. Yeah, and that
I
was
guess
Baz' point.
the only thing that you could say is if say, I don't know how many people were on the bench, but say there was 10 black guys and one white guy, would he refer to him as that white guy over there in that scenario?
He might, but firstly, he shouldn't, and secondly, there are different kind of. You can't
think
just reverse the racists.
I don't think it was as overtly racist as the Millwall fans. I think it was more either naivety or just obnoxiousness.
It's
obviously
it's
it's
against
very bad.
What he did is pretty explicitly against UEFA protocol
as well. Yeah.
Now, and like people keep saying, well, he's Romanian and it's a Romanian culture. They weren't playing in Romania. They weren't on the street in Romania. He follows UEFA's culture.
And also like this about like certain cultures as well.
Yeah.
It's like
this idea that racism only exists in like the Western world.
In the Western world, and that, you know, like Romania and wherever else, like, you know, they can do these things. Like that's not on. Like,
it's also a pretty primitive look at those kind of countries to be like, oh, they don't understand.
Yeah, you know yourself over there in Romania. Like, it's a fucking first world country. Like, I'm not. Like, I've been to Romania, not been to Romania, actually. That's a lie. Why would I lie? I know people from Romania, though, but like this kind of this.
Been to Romania, he'll tell you all about
it. But this is this is, you know, he's not. He's a UEFA referee. He's all over. If your job is literally to be all over Europe, then you're not just, oh well, you know, it's my culture back home.
Exactly.
It's UEFA's culture.
And you're dead right. It's like you almost can't, in this day and age. It's almost like it's fairly difficult to not look to other cultures around Europe. Like Romania is what, 2-hour flight from anywhere in Europe. He literally travels for, like, in these European matches. It's definitely not his first one as well.
No.
You know?
No,
and he's dealt with, and as a top level referee, if you're refereeing in the Champions League, like you're a fourth official in the Champions League, you're officiating in the Champions League, you have been at every single level, every single rung of football. That's from underage, where you'd have to go all around Europe. You'd be in the Romanian top league, where there's an abundance of players from different nationalities, from different cultures. It's not all right in Romania. It's not all right in Paris. Not all right in Bricker. It's not. It's like point blank. It's not.
And I'm going to direct this question to Dan, because I know he's given out about the issue in the past. What do you make of John Barnes' comments?
Is it faux pas to say I don't know what he said? I wasn't listening. I didn't hear him say anything. What did he say?
Oh wait, my connection is in bits here. Like, it was something along the lines of, oh, it's not that bad, and you know, don't rush to conclusions, and it's like the Liam Neeson thing kind of again.
I think John Barnes has done that a lot, where he kind of I don't know, that's John Barnes' prerogative. You know, he's a black man, he knows more about this than me, but he does seem to always like to downplay these things. Which is weird, because like he's always been a huge subject of racial abuse throughout his career.
Yeah, like he was an English black, like he played for England in the 80s. Like he was like that classic photo of John Barnes. I can't remember what ground, but he's back healing the banana off the pitch. Like that's one of the most almost iconic pictures of 80s English football. I don't know. Like again, Dan is completely correct.
I think what it more says is that every time there's any sort of racial issue, no matter if it's sporting or otherwise, English media seem to love getting John Barnes' comment on it, because they
always find the one or two that say that downplay. I mean, I've also seen a bunch of white footballers and former players say, "Oh, it's no big deal." Which, like, fucking, is it George Mendes? Not George Mendes, the Portuguese coach. What's his name? Jorge Jesus.
Oh, Jorge Jesus.
Jorge Jesus. I don't know how to say it.
George Jesus. I don't know. Does he
George Jesus
in Brazil?
But he was like, oh well, you know, what if I was the only white guy on a street in Africa and someone needed to identify me? Then it wouldn't be. Yeah, that's a different scenario. You can't just to say, oh, what if you reverse the racism and try again, is just so willfully ignorant. Like, you know what you know why that's not the same, but you want to pretend you don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's a dissonance. Like it's just it is. That's a very important topic, and hopefully we don't have to speak about it a lot more. But it's the fact that we're going to have to. These things are going to prop up time and again, and the sooner they're all kicked out, the better.
Can I just say one thing before we move on?
Yes, Shane. You can.
That I'm kind of surprised at. I thought that if the official is found guilty, I thought if the official is found guilty of making racist remarks, he'll only get a 10-game ban from European competition. I kind of find that a bit staggering. Like, surely it's a lifetime kind of ban for an official to make, to be found guilty of making a racist remark. Surely an official can never get a game again.
Well, as I always say about anything, if you're found guilty of using racist language, like there should be no leniency with regards to your ban. Mm-hmm. Like, and I know like difference between an official using it and a player using it, but even still, like
100% players just, I mean, particularly
like, look at Kiko Casilla.
Yeah.
Kiko Casilla is the one that I think of from last year, and how Bielsa dealt with him this year, giving him the captaincy after what he said to Jonathan Lecco last season. Like, he shouldn't, to be honest, he should never play for certainly Leeds again. I don't think that he, like, as soon as you're found guilty of that, you should be let go. Like, simple as, if I'm racist in my job, I'll get let go. Same with any of us. It's like same with anybody.
It's not taking a week off, like.
Exactly. It's not. Oh yeah. Suspended with pay for the next 8 weeks. You know.
I guess it does come down to.
Shamob, you there?
Severity of the. My connection is so bad, but yeah, I guess like it does come down to the severity of the racism. Like if it's something ignorant or just a mistake, I can understand not getting rid of them forever. But if it's something malicious with intent,
it's just that it's such an easy thing to just not do.
Yeah, like, and
even at the smallest level, like these are these are people being paid a ridiculous amount of money. And it's very hard to like it's very easy to just not slip up.
Yeah, like I remember, like, but here's the thing: I can remember in Turkey, of all places. Speaking of like Webber, who played a good bit of his career in Turkey, obviously works there now as a coach. Was Didier Zakora? Do you remember Didier Zakora and Emre Belözoğlu? And
Emre, Jesus,
yeah, do you remember that?
Bad.
Yeah. And Zakora took it upon himself to kick the bollocks out of him.
Absolutely right.
But Zakora shouldn't have had to been in that position because Emre should have
been dealt with.
He should not be on the pitch.
Yeah.
And like I know that this is like maybe a couple of months later. That's a ban for the season. You're gone. You're gone. And it's quite clear. Like that Emre one was quite clear.
Oh yeah.
And he's back in and still playing football. I think
he still plays.
Yeah, like I think he did play for Besiktas here for a bit as well, which is another baffling thing. But listen, speaking of that group and everything that went on in it, there was a lesser issue that went on. But Shane, now I hope your connection is better. It's been aided. Just
hold on. Before we start that, I'm going to move rooms.
Can we get a look at it? Can we get a look at the? We look like we're in the Disney store, bro. Get a look at the Christmas tree. Yup.
This is how they film Cribs during quarantine.
Yeah.
Go to the fridge. See what's in the fridge, son. It's actually
walking on a laptop and kicking open doors. Right.
And it's great when he goes in here. It's gonna look like Redman's gaff. He's just
little fucking VHS.
Before he was ironing on the floor. We see Deco, his dad, just on the couch asleep. Right. So what we're gonna do, right, is that Shane, I'm just gonna chill back. I'm just gonna lamp for a bit. Dan, you do what you need to do.
Yeah, I'll take it easy.
Shamob, if you just want to talk, bro, you can talk.
All right. I like how relaxed and far away from the camera you've gotten.
I do it, but this would happen.
So I was very angry on Tuesday. I was very angry on Wednesday, and I'm still quite angry, to be honest.
You're an angry
and
man, Shane. You're an angry
I am an
man.
angry man. I will admit to that, but yeah, I wasn't particularly angry at losing to. Well, okay, I was angry that I was angry that United lost on Tuesday and that they were out. But it all goes back to that Istanbul game. Like, to think that they defended like they were going for a minute equaliser in the 13th minute against the bottom seeds of the group to allow Mbaba race through on goal from his own half. It's unfathomable still. Um, like beaten they performed generally pretty well against PSG and Leipzig. To win one and lose one, I think most United fans would have taken that before a ball was kicked. And I think the only thing that United fans would have pleaded with United to do was to beat Istanbul home and away, and then pick up enough points, try to pick up enough points from the other 2 games or 4 games to squeak through. Because I don't think many United fans would honestly say they expected to make it through the group.
But do you think,
But to not make it through the group,
I think the circumstances just make it so much worse. I think you got
yeah, no, absolutely.
your first 2 games are against the 2 teams that you need to beat. Basically, you need to beat them once. You beat them once, grand. Just get those 2 wins against Besiktas here, and then you're laughing. The fact
The worst thing is that the win against Leipzig guaranteed head-to-head victory. Like, there was no way Leipzig were going to be 6-0 up. Well, actually, they could have been 6-0 up by 30 minutes, but it was very, very unlikely that Leipzig would ever overturn that, having to play each other twice in the next 2 games after the Leipzig game. And as soon as they lost to Leipzig, I started to look ahead, and I was like, if PSG beat Leipzig in the return fixture, no matter what United do, they're going to have to get a point off one of them. And I feel that is just not going to happen, because they're put themselves in a position where they're open to nervousness, or which happened against PSG. The fisheries too, but it's that's the first 20 minutes. And let me be clear, I am not in that United camp of giving out that Solskjaer played the back 5. He's played the back 5 against City in the Cup. He played against Chelsea in the league, against Leicester when he needed to win to get a point to get to the Champions League, against PSG. It's been United's go-to formation in big away games, and it's worked a lot of the time. So I've absolutely no qualms with him doing that. And United fans that do it have very short-term memory. But I don't know what the problem is. Is it the players letting them down, or is it the bad coaching? Because the fullbacks for the first 2 goals were absolutely shocking, to be basically playing as centre backs.
I mean, both goals were scored by the opposition wingback.
And they had
Acres
the
of space.
freedom of the box to go onto the ball and hit it. It's just, it beggars belief that United put themselves in that position. Like, you think you avoid defeat, or if you're looking to avoid defeat, you just go over the first 10 minutes. And then it looked like they were getting themselves back into the game. I feel if they'd scored a 2-0, they would have thrown. Obviously, it's easy to say because they scored twice. But
there were a couple of chances, particularly Mason Greenwood's very early on at 1-0.
Yeah, it was very unlike him how badly he hit it. Like, okay,
not only the finish, I thought he'd finish it because he's pretty good on both feet. But even before that, there was a very clear pass through the Rashford, and then about 10 minutes later, we saw the same thing in the opposite direction where Rashford didn't pass the green.
I thought Rashford was particularly poor. I thought his touch at the final whistle was absolutely awful. His last, not that it would have led to anything, but it was terrible.
Yeah, I think that kind of crystallized it for me, was that, like, that touch. It was like everything looked like in the build-up. It was like, United are doing it. United here, they're gonna get this, and then it just
rolled out of play.
Yeah,
it's like something you do at the Astro after playing for an hour and a half. And you just not bother chasing after a ball.
Shamob, that was us last Thursday on the icy pitch when we couldn't get our bearings for the first fucking 15 minutes, man.
Yeah, but also he had a decent chance at 3-2, and he cut inside from the left. I think Brandon Williams took away the fullback from, and he had a shot. He had a lot of space, and he put
Hit
it
it right
straight
at
into the keeper's hand
Gulashi,
with no
yeah.
power on the shot.
I do remember that one actually. Yeah.
Yeah, like he could have crossed it, but he definitely should have done better with the shot.
Yeah,
and I
like
think,
those kind of chances. Like I'm not. I can't blame Rashford for that. Like if
no, I
you
can't. But I think he should have
that's
done
what
a
he
lot
does.
better with it. I just
Cut in, have a shot. Yeah, no, you hit it to either side of the goalkeeper and make him make a decent save. But I suppose what I gathered
It's
from that,
yeah, but Rashford has to be thinking as well, like, hey, don't be 3-0
yeah,
down.
and that's what I was gonna say is that, like, I think the situation was recoverable. Okay, it was probably recoverable from 3-0 the way it panned out, but it was definitely recoverable from 2-0. And the way United conceded that third goal, like the pass from Lindelof out of defence was despicable. And then
Did someone say something? Like, did Harry Maguire hear a shout? Because, like, why would he leave that?
I have no idea defending. I'd be annoyed at the schoolboys that defended that one, the coach.
And like, you can go in. I think you can go in on De Gea as much as you
I
like,
know.
but I don't think. I mean, he doesn't do himself great,
No,
but it's
I
not his
think
fault.
it comes back to Maguire. Like
Yeah,
it's within his remit to just kick that ball out for a corner or throw in and defend the corner. And then United fans point the finger. Oh, this is why we need more investment in our defense. They do.
This is why this proves that the money
that
isn't the
defense costs
problem.
more than £200 million. It's obviously United have spent badly, but you can't just point the finger and say we haven't spent money in a defense that's cost more than most nations' defense budgets. But I thought one player did very well when he came on. I thought
It's slow there, Fynch.
I
I
thought
think your
one player
connection's
did.
gone.
Yeah, this is a disaster.
It's not great.
I thought one player did very well when he came on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the bittersweet thing about Pogba is that he can put in a performance like that, but do you want the baggage that comes along with him? Like he almost turned that game on its head by himself. Like if his cross was deflected, I don't know how it wasn't deflected in at the end. I was certain that was going to be an own goal.
Yeah.
I think the baggage that comes with Pogba is it's too much. Is it worth it? Like he's a great player when he wants to be. Half the time he walks around the place, and then you have this agent coming out the day before the biggest game of the season, making comments to media saying that Pogba's time at United, which it very well could be, but to do it in that nature is just there's no excuse for it, and either Pogba knows about it and has instructed him to do it, and then he's out of line, or Rayola's done it of his own volition and he's out of line, and then Pogba hasn't done anything to distance himself from the comments. So either way, I don't think Pogba has any leg to stand on, and Rayola certainly doesn't.
If Pogba was putting in great performances every week, this might be something you'd feel like, okay, we can deal with it. But he hasn't even been good this year. He's had 1 or 2 good games.
I mean, he scored his first goal of this league season on Saturday.
He hasn't been good, so you can't argue like, oh well, his agent's a pain in the ass, but like he's worth it, because I don't think he's worth it.
I think there's a small minority of United fans that would say, no, we need Pogba if we're going to challenge. And maybe they do, but I think they wouldn't feel Pogba's lost as badly if they were to sell him and get a defender or attacking player that they desperately need. Like, I think in midfield they have enough to cover for him with Bruno and Van de Beek. There's enough quality there to make up for Pogba not being there. They're already struggling to get the 3 of them into a team anyway.
Yeah.
And look, if Rayola says Pogba won't be here much longer, the best way to ensure that he isn't is to make comments like that. They're trying to get him out of there. His contract isn't that long. I think it's only 1.5 years left or so.
Yeah.
And you want to get something for him.
He probably wants to play in the Champions League again this season. I'd probably sell him in January.
It's the most money I get for him.
Who wants him? Like, Juve want him, but apparently they can't afford him.
They don't have the money.
Yeah, Juve will be hoping that United will take one of their fucking million centre mids.
Fucking Rabiot or something.
Or Bentancur or something, yeah. I'd do a deal for Dybala.
Yeah.
I'd fucking...
I don't know. Real Madrid will probably want them. They want everyone. Particularly everyone who can
he realised the amount of stick he's going to come in for if he pulls those kind of stunts around Madrid. Like they hate their legends. They don't have a time for players that are coming in doing that kind of thing. I think he'd be very well suited to PSG.
Yeah, I was just about to say PSG. Because looking at their midfield, I think it's shite, bar Verratti.
Yeah, it looks like Mbappe's going to leave. I feel like he will leave in the summer.
I mean, I get that impression now, but we don't know how much money they might put down.
Yeah, true. That is the other thing.
I do think maybe, yeah, Mbappe's eventual, his future will kind of stop teams from making big transfers in the next year or so, because they're all waiting to see what he does. Because if you get the chance to sign Mbappe, you sign Mbappe.
Yeah, it's like
his prime years. So
yeah, it's like it's particularly in the NBA where like teams are looking to free agencies 2-3 years.
They're waiting
ahead
to see when Giannis shows up.
To see when Giannis is finally shows up on the scene, to see what they could do. It's like what they did with LeBron 10 years ago. Like, because Mbappe is one of those generational talents that you might only get one chance at.
Yeah, I mean, he just surpassed Messi for the youngest player to hit 20 Champions League goals there the other day.
Yeah, like you do forget you forget that he's 21 now. Well, he's 20. He'll be 22 this month.
Like, yeah.
So like, and he's already been probably the best player on a team that's won a World Cup. Like,
it's ridiculous levels. Yeah.
He's and exactly, and I think, to be honest, he's got to make a decision in his own mind whether he wants to, because PSG can offer him all the money in the world. He plays for them. They can make a decision on how much they want to give him. They can give him the world. He has to weigh up how much he values winning things, and by that I mean not Ligue 1 every year, like
with
winning
PSG.
Yeah, like winning Champions Leagues, going to different countries, winning trophies, like Ronaldo, which like at least has gone all right, grand, of playing in England, played in Spain. Now it doesn't mean that you have to do that, but
no, you could do what Messi's done.
But there's a difference between playing for Barcelona, and playing for PSG, regardless of whether PSG get to the Champions League final. I think
absolutely.
If you look at, like, you just look purely at where their leagues are.
Mbappe's career right now would be like Messi's career if Real Madrid didn't exist, and it was just Barcelona dominating the league. It's just you are going to get overlooked. Like, no matter what you say about, Leon did well last year. There are really good French teams, but they're always going to be looked at like that.
You're going to get the odd time when teams in France, just they do come to the fore and PSG do fall off. PSG haven't won since they got all that money. Haven't won Ligue 1 every single year. Like Montpellier won it one year with Giroud bringing in goals. Monaco obviously won it. Like, Monaco getting to the semis of the Champions League same way as Lyon did. Like.
But no French team apart from PSG can sustain that over 2 or 3 seasons. They either lose their good players, or most of them either to PSG or to just look at City poached about 4 players of Monaco.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you look at that Monaco team that got to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Are any of them left?
They're nowhere to be seen. Yeah.
Like, are any of them left?
Half of them haven't even been good since then.
Yeah, maybe like
they went for big fees, and half of them have been shite.
Maybe like an El Jemerson, the centre half that played beside Glick. Mm-hmm. Like, that's it. Like,
is that Golovin still there?
I don't think Golovin was Golovin signed after the World Cup, I think.
After the World Cup.
Oh, yeah. God, really?
Like, he is still there though. But that's the exact thing.
Like Lamar and Mendy, and they've been terrible.
Lamar, Mendy, Bakayoko.
Like, Jesus.
Like, who's been good? Mbappe and Fabinho.
Mbappe,
and Bernardo Silva.
Bernardo Silva.
Oh, Bernardo Silva, of course. And who was
has been another one who just wasn't great after.
Yeah, in fairness, Sidibe, has been injured.
He wasn't a star.
Yeah, he was a solid player.
It has been a mad week. Like, when you consider that, like, Manchester United going out of the Champions League in the position that they were in is not even close to the top of the news bill in the grander scheme of things. It's been a very important week for football, I guess, in terms of how they've dealt with the issues in front of them. The clubs have dealt with them. It's also a very damaging week for some clubs and some officials. And a damaging week for Manchester United. Let's not forget that.
Hopefully next week when we're back on here, when we're all forward show, talking about results, talking about United losing again.
and our connection doesn't drop every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, I wouldn't mind United winning. They need to beat City.
Well, United win and will keep Solskjaer in the job for another 3 months or so, and then United will just go down to Swanee again anyway. So that's probably in everyone's best interests, apart from United.
I do enjoy the peaks and troughs of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's reign as Manchester United manager. Like it is great that the consistency only lasts. Like the consistent winning only lasts about 3 weeks.
Yeah, and then losing is probably about 3 weeks too.
He evens itself out beautifully. He's going to have a perfect like win-loss ratio, win-lose draw.
Yeah, and I guess the Champions League group kind of epitomizes his tenure. Like brilliant performances, and then absolute abject performances, and then okay performances that don't get results, and okay performances that do get results.
With all this talk about Ollie, who's after getting off really lightly?
Who?
Arteta. Because they have been awful.
Let me just make one thing abundantly clear. Where is the Arteta money? Is still a question I'm asking 8 years later, boys.
That's a beautiful way to tie things together.
There we go.
I better leave. I'll let you do the outro. I need to get to football, or I'll be killed by Alan Ormsby, Fynch. You know what he's like.
I thought Alan Ormsby wasn't playing this week.
No, he decided he would. He's been weird. So I'll leave you on a sorrowful note that United are not in the Champions League anymore. And goodbye, viewers, all three of you.
Welcome to Thursday nights, Manchester United.
Yeah.
And welcome to Thursday nights, me and Dan. This is the end of the program this week. If you do enjoy, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends if you're watching.
That good stuff.
The link to the most important video you'll watch today will be in the description below. And Dan, I got one question to ask you before we leave. Where's the Arteta money? Where's the Arteta money? You put this down the drain, Bill. Down the drain.
It's not funny if I haven't seen the video.
It's down the drain, Bill. You don't care about Everton Football Club. We do. We care. And I very much do. I very much do. From us and ours to you and yours. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.